I'm Mr. Rosansky, and this is a speed run of Practice Test 7, the second module, the B module, the easy one. We are going to start this easy peasy guide, just like every single one. Why change a strategy that works? I've got a conventions question starting on 15, which is a great look. Singular, plural, plural, plural. I'm going to bias the odd man out, go looking for a subject. I've got a map. Thank you, map. I've got a conventions question. These are pronouns, but I'll do the number thing just to ground me. I've got a singular, a singular, a singular, and then I've got a plural. We can bias an odd man out for something like this. I know that it's attached to letters, therefore the determiner has to be plural. Your vibes might like it. We've got 18, we've got a whole bunch of letters. Simple as that. More verb questions here. So I'm going to go for a plural, a both, and a both. So we can shift to tense. We've got the present, we've got the future, and we've got the past. I go looking for a clue. I've got a this time, which is telling me a certain when exists somewhere. The signal element will bounce me back to when. It is not the 1930s, thankfully, so I know I'm living in the past for the sentence, and affected gets my pick. I look to the items, and I see that I've got a period, a space, a lonely little comma, and then I see a lonely little coordinating conjunction. I'll bias this, and I'll go looking for complete sentences. This pops out at me as a verb telling me when. I see that its subject is actually this dependent clause that has its own subject in what with the verb increases. So this is super chill here, and then there's actually a second dependent clause here. All we need to know is a period can go here. I have a complete sentence to this side. As I investigate the right side, I've got a preposition with, a pressure pot, which is fine. Though, move this to the front, no problem here. And then I've got another complete sentence. I've got an airtight seal, traps, as my verb that tells me when. I have a complete sentence on the right, two complete sentences, can't be joined by nothing, a comma, or just a coordinating conjunction. A gets the bid, pick it and move on. Conventions. I'm going to go after this dashy poo first. I look to the text and I don't see a dash, therefore I can murder these two guys. Then I consider what's going on here. I see a little bit of a bridge here. And I'm going to like this. I'll read over it. Establish a complex economic system that funded major infrastructure. Though this thing doesn't describe the that before it, this is some sort of aside that you can imagine it. Taxation wins. Conventions. Bunch of scrambled guys. Go to the start. Wanting to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Alaska Purchase. Who or what was wanting to celebrate this thing? The contest wasn't wanting to celebrate it. An award wasn't wanting to celebrate it. $300 wasn't wanting to celebrate it. This commission is something that could be wanting to celebrate it. Another conventions question. I see a space. I see a lone comma, I see a comma and a coordinating conjunction, which is a gorgeous thing. And then I see, well, a relative pronoun. Not the CS mix-up entirely, but I'll still go biasing this guy, but I'll go looking. I do see that I've got a verb and a subject over here, and I have a verb and a subject over here. This is going to murder these two guys. But now that, if I were to use the that, slice one could be that it's a relative pronoun, but then its antecedent couldn't be this 20th century thing because it wouldn't go anywhere in this clause. Or if it were some sort of complementizer, you would want to want more right here. No matter how you slice the that, it's wrong. Additionally, I want contrast. That's another way that you can engage with this question is, who cares about the that? I want contrast, and this is the only one that accesses the eventually replace. Though popular, eventually replaced. I need to express that contrast in some way. Logically can transition pretty early for one of these, but that's okay. Human beings can only see in 3 dimensions. Speak for yourself. I'll read over this phrase. He offers a fascinating of what this might look like. I see some sort of contrast right here, even though humans can only see in 3 dimensions, even though only 3 dimensions, he shows what's more, right? He shows what's more that's existing. And I like that. That said, as an element of contrast, I'm not introducing something different to support an overarching claim. I'm not restating the exact same thing in the same words. I am not giving an example of the site of only 3 dimensions. It's some sort of contrast. Indicate where the story takes place. Takes place in Harlem, seems to be a where was published. That's where it was published, not where the story takes place. It's told from that's a device within the story, and then who wrote it, right? It says where the story takes place. Easy peasy on that A. And I have been selecting good. I want to define a term here. I want a definition for georeferencing. And colleagues assign geographic also use this thing. This seems to be like a way to use it, not a definition for the term. Used, a way to use it. This is for the same reason why A is wrong. It doesn't seem to be offering much. Georeferenced aerial photographs can help research. This is what you can use georeferencing for, but it doesn't give a definition. I'm getting a little bit scared, but georeferencing is the process of assigning geographic. This is awesome. I love this choice. I'm just going to make sure the fact is okay. Process of assigning geographic coordinates to an image that mapping software. This process of maps. I love it, right? Thank goodness all of those are just absolutely trash. I want to indicate how Fulton, Missouri, Mizzou got its name, how this place got its name. Fulton, Mizzou shares its name with Fulton Street. Maybe that could be it. I'll keep reading. Fulton Street, where the steamboat. No, this does not say where this got its name. Too many degrees removed. The Claremont, this has absolutely nothing to do with the specific detail by itself, is named after Robert Fulton, designer of the first commercially successful steamboat. I love this. I'm going to make sure it's factual because I guess A could be chill. The city of Fulton, Missouri is named after designer of the first commercial steamboat. Absolutely. This is a true fact, and I love it. A falls. It's not saying how Missouri got its name. I want to contrast the two styles of tiles in this answer. Tiles and it can be found in nope, that doesn't contrast the styles featuring tiles in this. This just speaks to the exemplar nature of the place, designed to be stamped, whereas I absolutely love this one. Among the files, this is not it. This is the only one that offers that kind of contrast that I'm looking for. I want to use a quotation to challenge the explanation of the conflict between them. I want to use a quotation to challenge this thing. There's the trick right here. If you got this question wrong, it's because you don't recognize this. I want to use a quotation to challenge this thing. And this thing can come in any form. So according to this belief, a rising power's conflict is likely. This is quoting this thing, but I'm going to use a quote to snap back against this thing. It falls. This is saying that this person wrote this quote, and it's saying that Stewart later challenged it, but it's not using a quote to challenge the claim. It's merely providing a quote of this guy. According to Stewart, a clash of cultures. I love this. C is caused the conflict, not Athens, right? This is using a quotation. This person explained that conflict was caused by. So we've got more. The quote that's involved in this is by this person, but you just read, this is a paraphrase, right? It says it wants a quote. I've got a quote. It's got to be this one. On to the first one. Logically and precise. This is a signal element kicking me back somewhere. I don't. Could release. None of those work. Predicted. For a prediction, we've got a theory. We've got this here. I see immediately a colon as a signal element, which is a absolutely beautiful thing. They made it easy and enjoyable for everyday people to have their, oh, I love that every day. And people at the same time loved exchanging these things. So help to popularize, right? Everyday people love this thing. It was everywhere. I look for a signal element. This, for example, pops out at me. Use of it was inspired. Then I've got enough for what I want. Influenced her work, was inspired by. This approach routes kissing. This colon, I'll go looking to the right. Size increased from 100 to 1300. That seems to be really good. Success gets our bid. I'm going to look into the underlying portion first and fight my battle here. A chemical compound usable as a detergent. It clarifies the meaning. This exactly looks like an appositive to me, and I love this. It describes an environmental concern. I don't think so. It explains the significance of a scientific discovery. Maybe it identifies a result that confused the team. I don't like this one. It identifies, this doesn't seem to be a result. It seems to be a definition. I really don't like C, but I'll peek around and I see this scientific term right here, and a positive describes the thing right before it, and I absolutely love A. But remember, I fought my battle first on the inside. Then when I was kind of confident, I went elsewhere. I want a main purpose of this text. I've got a for example right here as a signal element. What am I exemplifying? These items is glue, kicking me back a sentence. These items give readers a better sense of what daily life in Pompeii may have been like. And they found a ceramic jar that they believe contained meat and seafood stew. I don't see anything about a comparison between these. This isn't a comparison. The political system, unless the system was about meat and seafood being the government bodies, I don't think that's going to be it. To present a recent archaeological discovery, that seems to be right. Nothing about this screams climate to me. None of these are chill. I can read the rest to see if I like it, but I'm pretty confident in that choice. I'm in the easy section. I want the function of the underlined portion in the text as a whole. The concept of an interactive text is much older than technologists assume. extending back to the first time readers scratch their notes into a text margin. So the concept of intern is much older than technologists. Technologists are wrong. This is weird. Technologists are wrong. We've been interacting with texts for a hot minute. What is this thing doing? It's saying this. Challenges the stance. I like this. Mentioned earlier, I'll go looking, I'll kick the can down the road. It explains the basis for the claim made by technologists mentions earlier. But technologists are right. So the basis for the claim. No, it seems to be refuting them. It suggests that academics are better suited than investors to see the potential uses of contemporary. Academics are better suited than investors. I don't. Academics are better suited than investors. Maybe this seems to do academics. But where am I getting this notion of academics? I'll drop this. Nothing about this says academics to me. Provides a historical anecdote about the technological advances involved in the reading. No, it does not do that. It's got to be A. It challenges the sense of investors and enthusiasts who mentioned earlier in the text. I just want to make sure that they're mentioned because it totally challenges investors and enthusiasts. But I don't have technologists. Caution technology, investors, and these are the technologists. So A is the right answer. Pick it and move on. How does this thing helpful for the process of making rubber, making rubber, making rubber, making rubber, making rubber? Because it has a small and unique structure that makes it easy to collect latex, unique structure that makes it easy to connect latex, too easy. Whoa, this is telling me what to look for. What percentage of participants mentioned costs in the interview? Costs, 50. Is that it? Okay. Total area of Bahrain. What are these questions? All right, back into it. The mountain most effectively illustrates the claim. What's the claim? Feels protected by the mountain. Dry ravine. There's nothing about protection. The mountain stood there to be pointed at. I kind of like that so far. It felt like a wall behind which I was sheltered. This is definitely my answer. I crossed the river and swung around the mountain. No, that's just that the mountain is there. C is the only one that shows protection. I want to illustrate a claim again. The narrator was frightened of the sailor. And I want the notion of frightened. I remember the sailor as if it were yesterday. He came plodding into the door. I guess plodding into the door? Maybe? The sailor was a silent man by custom, although he hung around. No, this is just like he's suspicious, but I wouldn't say this. Maybe plotting so far, maybe. All the time he lived with us and made no change whatsoever in his dress to buy something of this. One of the corners of the hat falling down. He's great annoyance. Maybe the annoyance seems stronger than plotting. How the sailor haunted my dreams. I could scarcely tell you on stormy nights. I would see him. All right, this is definitely it. Logically completes the text. 2 of these. So we can slow it down. We've got a because here. Conservationists inferred that the N trees in Plata might have avoided the disease that wiped out the others. Survived because Plata survived because. Why did they survive? Right, because they were built different. Early 20th century did not know why so many were. No. Not knowing why they were becoming infected. The knowing or ignorance doesn't speak to their avoidance of it. The ability to fungus droplets there was only recently discovered. This doesn't make any sense. Our discoveries now wouldn't affect them and why some survived. They were too far from the others to be infected by the fungus. This gives a reason. Why did they survive? Well, because they were too far away to get infected themselves. And the chocolate made from their pods was highly valuable. These entail, like A and D are both making some claim that, like, well, they knew why and they could have intervened, but where this text is ending up, I don't have those bits of information. It's just got to be C. Logically completes the text. We've got this finding. We'll bump it back one. What do I have here? The test showed that pigment found on several beads contained no iron. The beads had no iron. The beads had high carbon. Okay. The pigment found on some beads. The beads had no iron. Some beads. Let's not lose that. Some beads. Some beads had high carbon, and then we'll start going into the text, or into the items. Some beads. The beads examined are the oldest surviving examples of the use of plant. Oldest surviving? No. that there were just some, but at a high level of carbon. Oldest surviving is a bold claim. I'm going to go back one sentence. I've got nothing. I just have a singular year. I've got nothing that would logically make me carry the statement that no other ones had this. It's just that it's old. The bead makers, rather than others, use plant-based rather than orchard to decorate some of the beads. This one I like. I could imagine, and I'll go looking in the text, but my science knowledge is telling me like the carbon seems to be the plant-based, but I'll go looking in a bit. The preferred to use preferred because they're brighter. That some of the beads had this. No, I would expect all of the beads. I would expect all of the beads if they are much brighter than C's tabled. The pigments used by it likely came from plants because it was difficult to find. So I'm going to go looking in this for the notion of difficult to find. This one is saying the brightness matters, and it's just that they used some. So let me confirm my first theory about high carbon versus iron. Iron, plant-based, contains a high level of carbon. So I was true there. From reading this whole text, the pigment found they would just never use this thing. All it's saying is that they use some of these things, and we have no idea why. These C and D are both making claims about why that we just don't have any support for. And geez, golly, was that a fun time. Time moves fast when you're having a great time, and that was a fast, fun time indeed. GG's.